Welcome to Hawg Huddle, your weekly opinion-based podcast dedicated to all things Razorbacks. From the highs and lows on the field and court to the biggest stories off of it, we've got you covered. If you got a question or topic you want us to tackle, email us or tweet us your thoughts, and we'll bring them into the huddle. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the latest. This is Hawg Huddle. What's up, everybody? Jesse here with Hawg Huddle. Hope everybody's having a great week. It was a weekend in Razorback athletics. We'll just say that. Last week, I recorded. Nothing going on in the portal. I get off here. I go to bed because I get up at 2 a.m. to get ready for work and head to work at 4. I wake up, open Twitter, and Madden. Hang on. I've got the pronunciation here. I'm going to get this right. Iamaleava. We'll just call him Madden because, yeah, that's a mouthful and my redneck self can't pronunciate that name. Had jumped into the portal and the Nico fallout reached Arkansas and he left, joined his brother at UCLA. Honestly, I'm glad he's gone. Would he have been a good quarterback? Yes. Bobby Petrino was high on him. Could have been great. But I don't think he was worth all the extra baggage that came with him. And we'll go ahead and cover that a little bit. Hunter Yurachek came out and said he fully supports the edge in recovering any damages done by breach of contract. Something along those lines. You've all seen it. You've all heard about it. But the edge, the university, it's all confusing. Tom Mars has been retained to help Arkansas in general recoup lost money that Madden and also receiver Desmond James, if you remember him, scored a touchdown in the Liberty Bowl. Longest pass play in Razorback history, but it doesn't show up in the record books last I checked. He transferred, so they erased him. Anyways, I'm going to give this one as a win to Hunter Yurachek. These guys are 18. They're signing contracts. And when they get out in the real world, you can't sign a contract to pay for a car and then decide you want another one and not pay for that one. Life lessons. You sign a contract, valid contract, you get held to that contract. You can sit out and refuse to play in the NFL, but it pretty much blackball you and you don't get your money and you have to pay back the money you got. So it'll be a good learning experience for Madden and his family. They'll be at UCLA. Honestly, it really doesn't make sense for either one of them. They went to a worse team in a stronger conference. Some of you may not agree with me, but based on the results of last year, Big Ten's better than SEC in football right now. Only way to change that, SEC's got to regain the throne this year. But last year, Big Ten was where it was. And you saw that in the national title game. But we also had the NFL draft this past weekend. Shout out to Shadur Sanders, 5th round pick. 2 Hogs were drafted ahead of Shadur. Isaac Tesla is headed home to Detroit. Pick number 70 that was 3rd round. And then 2 picks later, the Buffalo Bills picked up Landon Jackson. So that is 2 Hogs headed to Super Bowl contenders. It'll be fun to watch them, and I might just have to pick up Tesla in a fantasy league, kind of a late round sleeper pick, use him as a keeper for next year. I really think he's going to be a good NFL receiver. It just further proves that Bobby Petrino and Taylor Green did him a huge disservice and basically excluded him from the offense. He had some stats, but with him and Armstrong, we should have just torched teams last year, but did not happen. Speaking of that, Bobby Petrino's got a lot to prove this year. I was not overly impressed last year. Offense was much better than under Dan Enos. I will give him that. But it's not hard to do that much better than Dan Enos. You got Taylor Green back. We've got receivers. I don't know that we have very good receivers. Definitely does not appear to be as strong of a receiving core as last year. But we'll see what happens. We're about 4 months and 2 days away from kickoff. August 30th is first game of the season. And then a week later on September 6th, head down to Little Rock to play Arkansas State. And I'll say it now. It's where the season starts to go downhill, in my opinion. Hopefully, they can keep it together, take care of business. But Butch Jones and the Red Wolves, this game's been circled for a long time on their calendars. So, Hogs are going to have to get out there and handle business. If not, it's going to be the beginning of the end for our current staff in Razorback football. That was all that got drafted. Andrew Armstrong did not get drafted. It's a little surprising to me. He did sign with the Miami Dolphins, free agent signing. Few other ones. Tyrone Broden signed a free agent deal with the Seattle Seahawks. I don't even know what to say to that. I guess Seattle's completely given up on being a good football team. Broden, you could have put super glue, fly traps, wouldn't matter. As he was referred to by many in the fan base, he was skillet hands last year. He could not catch anything. And it wasn't because the passes weren't good. There were a few, that Taylor Green missed him. But with his size and his wingspan, he still should have had way more catches. Plus, there were plenty that just hit him in the hands and he dropped them. My boy Hudson Clark gets signed to the Las Vegas Raiders. Not an ideal team to go to, in my opinion. But, hey, maybe he can get on the field. And for all the Hudson Clark haters, he signed an NFL contract. That's more than any of us can say. Some other notable free agent signings for the Hogs. Eric Gregory is going to the Bengals. Jaquindon Jackson headed to the Jags, as well as Kiwi Rose and Danico Slaughter. The Jags trading up, snagging Travis Hunter in the draft. Then you've got Jaquindon Jackson. I really think Danico Slaughter could grow into an NFL player. He looked really good out on the field last year. I think he's got a lot of potential. The Jags may be a contender sooner rather than later. And they do have what I consider one of the greatest kickers in Arkansas history, Mr. Cam Little. So you have a handful of former Razorbacks playing on the Jaguars now, which may not be the greatest thing, but for Hawk fans looking for a reason to tune into a Sunday football game, don't have an NFL team, hey, you got a lot of former players playing for the Jags. That might be one to root for. And finally, Marquise Robinson to the Ravens. Mr. Flappy Bird himself now plays for a team whose mascot is a bird. So maybe the Flappy Bird celebration situation, whatever, he'll probably still get laughed at in the NFL for it. I was so sick of the Flappy Bird celebration, and from reports I've read of folks that went to spring practice, it's not over yet. We're going to have to deal with it again this year. I would love for the coaching staff to just ban that celebration because it looks ridiculous. But that's going to about wrap it up for football. Let me check my notes. Don't have anything else on there. Like I said, August 30th. Had some signings in the portal, had some leave in the portal. Is what it is. Once we get into fall practice, I'll try to stay a little more locked in on football. If we're still doing the show come fall, then I'll definitely be talking more about football because there won't be anything better to talk about. But on that note, we're going to jump over into baseball. And, oh man, rough weekend for the Hogs. I asked last weekend, is it time to hit the panic button? Well, here's your answer. Yep, sound the alarm. Another disappointing SEC series loss to a team with a sub 500 conference record. Friday was rough. Zach Root didn't have a great start. Bats just did not get going like they needed to. Hogs dropped the first one. Come back Saturday. And shout out to Gage Wood. If it wasn't for another player in Razorback Athletics, I would deem him my Razorback of the week. But he had an awesome outing. Only 3 innings, I believe it was. But still working him back in from that injury. Looked good. Hogs take care of business. 7-0 shutout. And I thought maybe I jumped the gun a little bit putting out my hit the panic button tweet on Friday. But Sunday would prove that I was not premature in hitting the button. Hogs get up 5-1 and allow 8 unanswered runs. Drop the series finale and the series in Gainesville to the Florida Gators. So what does that mean for the Diamond Hogs in the polls? Well, Baseball America dropped them to number 10. D1 Baseball drops them all the way to 11. The baseball writers left them at 6. I think they understand how hot Florida has gotten, and they're trying not to take away. Although the play I seen outside of Saturday, Friday, and Sunday, they're not a top 10 team right now. Perfect Game drops them to 12. And the USA Today coaches poll has them at 5 because there's a ton of respect for Dave Van Horn around the country. Speaking of injuries and pitchers, Carson Wiggins comes in, throws 7 pitches, I believe it was, calls for the trainer after a pick throw to first, exits the game. When asked about it in the post-game press conference, Dave Van Horn, he said, "It's the bad part. It's the elbow." As of recording this episode, I have not seen anything else. I'll be tuning in to Andrew Ellis and the Bombastic podcast that he should be releasing sometime this afternoon. I'll see if he has any more information. I'll keep an eye on Twitter. But elbow, let's hope it's not Tommy John surgery time. But not looking good for Carson Wiggins or the Razorback pitching staff. I mean, this kid's a true freshman, but he is the hardest throwing pitcher pretty much in all of college baseball. If I remember right, he has the fastest pitch recorded in college, or the second fastest pitch. I think he clocked in at like 102.1 on a pitch earlier this season. And I have not played baseball since Little League, but I've watched like the video simulations of sitting in the box. And when you've got something coming at you 100+ miles an hour, I don't see how you hit, because you literally have to guess where the pitch is going to be and start your swing as he releases the ball. It is insane how fast 100 miles an hour and that short distance between the mound and the plate, it goes by in less than a blink of an eye. But next up for our Diamond Hogs, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. This one's going to be on ESPN Plus. I guess I'm going to have to subscribe for a month because I still don't have a login. They'll be heading up to Springfield, Missouri to take on Missouri State. And they will be seeking revenge after dropping a game to the Bears at Baum back on March 25th, 14-13 in extras. That was one where everybody went back to hating Will McIntyre, even though now that he's out with injury, it doesn't really matter. But Nolan Souza dropped a pop-up, allowing the inning to continue. Then, following the midweek, number 1, Texas Longhorns, horns down, will be coming to Baum. I'll be there Thursday and Friday for sure. I'm still trying to find a reasonably priced ticket for Saturday. I know when I initially purchased my tickets, they were about $200 a piece to sit in the hog pen. I really want to go to all 3 just because I hate Texas. And with the passing of Dad and him being a Texas fan earlier this year, just kind of my own personal way to pay respect to him. Plus, Dad's buried about 3 or 4 blocks down the road from Baum Walker, so I want him to hear how crazy it is when the Hogs upset the Longhorns. Thursday night's going to be a 6 p.m. first pitch on ESPN2, weather permitting. We could see another series where weather plays a role. And on these Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, I don't like that, especially coming off short rests for the pitchers. I think that played a factor in the loss to A&M, who just got swept by Texas down in Austin. We got storms in the forecast for Northwest Arkansas on Thursday. Hopefully they're moved out, gone. We'll get to be out in the hog pen, have a few cold beverages, enjoy some good baseball. Hopefully we're playing good. Then Friday night, it's going to be a 7 p.m. first pitch on SEC Network, and Saturday, 2 p.m. first pitch, and that's going to be on the Plus, as I call it, SEC Network Plus. To say the Hogs need to take 2 of 3 minimum this weekend is the understatement of the year. I'm hoping the Hogs can bounce back, but between injuries and the inconsistent play over the past 3 series, my hope is fading fast. Earlier this year, we looked like a lock for a national seed, top 8, regional and super regional at home. Now I'm hoping we can pull off a regional at home the way we're playing. We've got enough SEC wins. Even if we continue this skid, we're probably going to make the postseason. In fact, I'm going to say we will make the postseason. I think 13-14 is kind of the magic number in the SEC to get into postseason play. But you really want to right the ship and have positive momentum going into the postseason. And I'm just not seeing a lot of positive momentum right now. If anything, we're going downhill and picking up speed. If you noticed, I done baseball second this week. That's because I want to end the show on a positive note. And we're going to end it with some Arkansas Razorback Softball. Well, I told y'all last week A&M was the number 1 team, but the rankings came out. They ended up being number 2. I guess it depends on which rankings you look at. They had dropped behind Tennessee, which, keep in mind, the Lady Razorbacks did go to Knoxville and take a series from them earlier this year. But at the end of the series this past weekend, rankings didn't matter. Hogs go to College Station and take the series from the Aggies in the first 2 games before dropping the finale 2-0 on Sunday. Couldn't get the bats going on Sunday. Is what it is. Series win against top 2 team. That is the second time the Razorbacks have done that this year. So nothing to be upset about, nothing to frown about there. Great win down there. Bri Ellis, amazing at the plate. Ella McDowell, amazing at the plate. That's a freshman that Coach Deifel, Hunter Yurachek, get the checkbook out. We need to keep her here until she graduates. We do not need her wearing another team's jersey because Ella McDowell is something special. Speaking of, she has been named a top 25 finalist for Freshman of the Year. She is only the fourth Razorback since 2018 to be selected to the list. Reagan Johnson in 23, former Hog Mary Hoff in 2018, and then Bri Ellis is a freshman, even though she was at Auburn at the time, was also a finalist for this award. McDowell's got a 990 fielding percentage with one error out of 101 plays. She is the first freshman in program history to earn back-to-back SEC Freshman of the Week honors. She got that on April 1st and April 8th. And her season is among the best by a freshman in program history. She's batting .392 and a .467 on base percentage. And if she keeps that up, that will be the best by a Razorback freshman of all time. She also ranks 13th in single season hits by a freshman. So, Ella McDowell, keep doing your thing. We are proud to have you in a Razorback uniform, and the good things just keep coming for the Hogs on the softball diamond. This series win has earned Coach Deifel and her team the highest Softball America poll ranking in program history, as the Hogs land at number 2 this week. And that's saying something, especially in a league like the SEC. Because the thing is, when you add teams like Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, yeah, it's a big deal in football. Baseball, Texas, obviously number 1 team in the country, makes a big deal. Gymnastics, Oklahoma runs the sport. Softball, Oklahoma runs the sport with Texas nipping at their heels. Volleyball, Texas, I want to say won 2 or 3 national titles in a row. So the SEC didn't just build up their football programs by adding Texas and Oklahoma. Across all athletics, it's been a nice addition. But you have teams like Oklahoma, who is 4-time defending national champions, I believe it is. Texas was playing them in the national championship last year, if I remember correctly. You've got Tennessee, who is ranked number 1 or 2, depending on which poll you look at. LSU softball is just as good as their baseball. Florida has an amazing softball program, which the Hogs also went to Gainesville and beat in a series earlier this year. So to be number 2 in the country and playing the competition that these girls are having to play week in and week out, that's an honor that I don't want to be overshadowed by everything else going on. Amazing job by Coach Deifel. And just like I said, break out the checkbook to keep Ella McDowell in a Razorback uniform. We need to keep Coach Deifel here as long as we can. I know she's a UCLA alum, so I'm sure if they come calling for a coach, you can't fault her for deciding to pack up and go home. But we've got great facilities. Keep the money rolling in, and just make sure we make it as hard as possible for her to make the decision to leave, because what she's done since joining this staff has been nothing short of amazing. And she's got a great support staff as well. Got some really good coaches underneath her. And we've got great players. We've brought in some amazing players. Speaking of, Miss Bri Ellis. I know y'all have heard me talk about Bri before, and I'm going to talk about her some more right now. She continues to mesmerize fans with her unreal hitting this year. She hit 2 homers in the game Saturday against A&M, and one of them almost cleared their giant scoreboard in left field. The power she has at the plate is unreal. There are teams that flat out will not pitch to her. I'm pretty sure she leads the team in walks this year, as well as home runs, as well as batting average. She's actually on pace to break the home run record for an Arkansas Razorback batter. Right now, I checked on the National Player of the Year. Right now, it's only the top 50 watch list. Her and Kaylee Wyckoff are on that list. But Wednesday, the top 25 finalists will be announced. And between the continued success of the program and the incredible season that Bri's having, I can't imagine her not being a finalist. I mean, she's got to be one of the top 3 players in college softball. And we've got her in a Razorback uniform again this year, and that is amazing. Speaking of some rankings, A&M remains number 1 in RPI even after dropping the series to Arkansas. But Arkansas has moved up to number 6. So with a series win this weekend, that should, by all accounts, lock up a top 8 national seed for the Razorbacks in the softball postseason tournament. And then we'll have postseason softball going on at Bogle Park. Now, if the guys can get back on track, we could have postseason baseball as well, but things are not looking good on that front. And I don't want to talk about baseball. I want to talk about softball because, like I said, I want to end this show on a positive note. Arkansas will conclude the regular season this Thursday through Saturday when they welcome the LSU Tigers. I can't stand LSU. I despise LSU almost in all sports almost as much as I despise Texas. In fact, in women's sports, I probably like LSU even less. Between their basketball, their gymnastics, their softball, they're good at everything. We've got enough money on the hill. Arkansas women's athletics should be some of the top in the nation. Softball's there. Gymnastics is up there. Here's to hoping that Coach Music can get the basketball program where they need to be. But anyways, back to my point. I squirreled there. Apologize about that. First pitch for Thursday and Friday is 6 p.m. And then the series finale on Saturday is a 1 p.m. first pitch. All 3 games will be broadcast on the Plus. In the Softball America poll, LSU is currently number 12, and they're number 7 in RPI. So a series win here will go a long way in postseason seeding. I think the Razorbacks are pretty much out of the running for an SEC regular season title, but a series win here, that will be yet another win, which will make it 7 series in a row if they can win this weekend, which is very impressive. More impressive than what the baseball team's done this year. Like I said, LSU comes to town, and then starting Tuesday, May 6th, over in Athens, Georgia, the SEC tournament kicks off. That's something else that I really like that softball does that baseball doesn't. I mean, I get you got the Hoover Met, but SEC tournament is rotated from school to school in softball. I remember a couple years ago, Bogle Park hosted. I believe last year it was down in Auburn. This year it's going to be over in Athens at Georgia. Although I guess in baseball, with all these hideous turf fields and then little league parks like Tennessee has, I can see why they keep it at the Hoover Met, but I think it's kind of cool how softball bounces it around from school to school, lets everybody get a chance to host, show off their facilities, bring in crowds, boost the local economy. Really like to see that. And then with the way things are going, if the girls can get it done and make it over to the Women's College World Series, Hog fans, Oklahoma City ain't that far away. We might have to take a few vehicles, carpool, get a little caravan or convoy going, head over to Oklahoma City and root on the Razorbacks in the Women's College World Series. But we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We got to focus on this series with LSU this weekend. One more positive note that I forgot to put in the show last week, so I'm going to put it in the show this week. We had Maddie Jones and Jocelyn Roberson in the NCAA championships in Fort Worth. They didn't bring home the title, but Maddie Jones closes out a wonderful career with a 9.775 on the bars. Had an error on one of her releases, but covered it up. And then Jocelyn, I'll spit out words in a minute. I apologize. Roberson got 9 9s on beam and floor. And then she got a 9.825 on vault and a 9.8 on bars. She is the first freshman NCAA All-American since 2012 for Arkansas. And the first ever freshman NCAA All-American on beam. So, big things ahead for gymnastics. Miss Roberson's going to be great. We got her for 3 more years, it looks like. And hopefully she can be the anchor that helps bring home a national title to Bud Walton now for the Arkansas Gymnastics. But with that, I'm going to wrap it up this week. We got baseball this week. We got softball. Weather's getting good. Weather's also springtime in Arkansas. Be alert. We got some nasty storms going to be moving across the state overnight tonight and into tomorrow, Monday into Tuesday. But stay safe. Have a great week. And as always, woo pig. Let me take this opportunity to say thank you for listening to Hawg Huddle this week. Make sure and subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Tell your friends and follow us on socials. We're on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.